What's up, y'all? Welcome to Shaken and Stirred. I am your host, Kristin. I'm joined by my co-host, Lilla, and our guest, Terri Turner. What's up, guys, gals, ladies?
Gals. Hey, y'all. Hey, we're so excited to have Terri with us today. And we are going to let you guys meet her and just get to know her role in the magazine, and just her role in life. So, Terri, we are so excited to have you. How you doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me. Always happy to chat with you guys.
Absolutely. I am so excited you're involved. I think you're a badass. Ever since I've known Terri, which has been since she was fairly young, I've like very, very early 20s.
Like 21.
She's younger than me, but not by a lot.
Like 1 or 2 years, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's a little more than that, but not too much. So she's always just been very wise. Like that's the best, very wise and very measured in her questions and her responses and the things that she says, but very truthful and authentic. And I think you guys will hear that, and you can pick your nose around her and she's not going to care.
And Kristin, Terri, tell everybody how you guys know each other. Like, what do you guys know each other from? I don't think, everybody knows the background. So
Yeah, I'd like.
Yeah. Do you want me to say it? Okay. Well, from competing, right? You trained with Kim and I trained with Mike Davies, but they were always kind of close. So I was thinking about that this morning. Where was it exactly that we met? Was it at a show or was it at like a training camp? I don't remember. But whatever it was, we became close like right away. Like I said, I was like, okay, this happened. I know Kristin's my people. And I remember going to the airport with you a bunch of times. I remember for me, competing was so much fun. And we've talked about this because it was just the backstage girl time and just hanging out with everybody. So I can't remember exactly how we met, but whatever it was from the competing world. I think you and I turned professional around the same time. I think you were before me.
Maybe.
Right?
I was at the USA's.
Maybe. I don't know. About the same. Yeah. Yeah. So all of that. And then, sponsored by Jam and all of that stuff.
I think
So
been how we got in the same sphere because of the emails, and we were all kind of lumped into the same group. And then when we would go to shows, we were expected to shoot with him if we were competing in that show or not competing in that show. He really did not seem to care.
It's all a blur.
But
yeah,
it was absolutely my favorite part about it. And I don't know that they have the same experience now doing it because they also have social media where they can connect with people, and there are more people in their gym doing it. Because when we were doing it, I mean, I don't know about you, but there were like maybe 2 or 3 other people in my town doing it at the time. There might be
exactly
that had retired from it, or somebody had maybe done one show. It wasn't like a community, and now there's a bunch of them.
Well, you probably say the same thing too, I imagine. I know that you competed as bikini, but both of us were figure back in the day. And when people ask me when I competed, I'm like, I was old school. And if anyone knows this sport, you know what it means when I say there was a 1-piece round and a 2-piece round.
Yeah.
And so it's been a while. Yeah. So
it was different competing in bikini, but I did like it.
You looked great.
The only thing I would have changed is I got ready in like 6 or 7 weeks. Like I kind of had it in the back of my mind, and then I got to the point where I was like, okay, if I'm going to do it, I got to pull the trigger. So I did. I started really hammering my posing, but it never occurred to me to do the comparisons. Like I never practiced the comparisons. I just knew that I was going to go out there and do my turns again. What I wasn't prepared for was the actual moment when the gentleman said, okay, ladies, blah, blah, and I didn't really hear what he said. It was in the middle of a convention center, and you know how those are. They're loud. There's other stuff going on. There's vendors, and you don't even, the lights are terrible. I hate doing shows and conventions. Give me a theater any day. So I just remember when he said it, I'm like, what did he even say? What am I supposed to do right now? And I was on the end and I could feel the other girls moving. And I'm like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to do. And it was just like an overall deer in headlights I felt like I had. So I would have won looking back, I'd have scheduled another show or done another show like immediately after that. But now I
Yeah,
still
you're
kind
already
of
in
have it
shape.
in my
Yeah.
head. And I keep thinking, well, I could do the Excalibur because they've got a pro bikini and it's in Charleston. I could just run down there and do it. I know that sounds silly, but
You
I'm trying to
could.
stay ready for what I would want to look like on stage because some of these bikini girls are harder than figure when we were doing it. No,
I
no,
know.
no,
Like, yeah, some of them are more muscular.
I don't even need I've never needed an award or a trophy or anything like that. I need for me to have the experience of going out there and feeling like I rocked that shit. There was not a time
Yeah.
after I turned pro when I went out on stage and wasn't like, yeah, I felt very confident in how I presented myself. And looking back at the
Mhm.
video, I don't know, man. You know how it is. I still think I did good. I'm not going to be my worst critic ever, which is probably not my best
Yeah.
characteristic. But
No, I don't think that's a
I
bad
do feel
characteristic at all. I think that's,
very self-reflective too, so I think that helps. What do you think?
yeah, you've always been humble and you've always been very positive and supportive over other people,
Yeah.
like no haters. And that's like, we talk about like the magazine stuff. I'm like, anyone that knows me, I'm such a girl's girl and I love meeting other women and empowerment and like all of that good stuff. And I think, and that is one reason I've always been like attracted to you and your friendship and like all the other girls. It's just like there's no competition. It's just fun and
Yes.
support, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was cool with competing. We all had that common ground. We all helped each other backstage, whether it's like helping with your bikini bite, sticking, I mean, do they still use that shit? Like sticking it,
Yeah.
like, all of that. So
It's
good
it's
times.
just different backstage now in general because we still go to the shows. My friend Kevin puts them on. He puts on the Jay Cutler Classic in Virginia. Yeah, it's a really cool show. We went up there the first few times with him and started it, and it's always in a cool venue there. But and Jay shows up sometimes, but they just run it
Mm-hmm.
more like a business. They're charging so much to have backstage passes. There aren't that many people back there now. It's so competitive because people are just not as friendly, it seems, about it these days. I don't know. The whole vibe backstage is kind of just not the same. Like it all changes. I just feel like
Okay.
there's times that are good and times that are bad, and I think it could always swing back that way. That's what we need. And if you're smart, you get rid of all the things you don't need.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't get sucked into it too much, at least.
Well,
Yeah.
some girls, it really, like, my self-esteem was never based on a placing ever.
Yeah, but you're a unicorn. Most people, the majority, you're not the average person. I'm being honest about that and in a good way. Most people get wrapped up with their self-concept and their self-worth on things like that. Which that's what brought me to sports psychology was the whole effed up world of bodybuilding and body dysmorphia
Mhm.
and eating disorders and low self-esteem and like all in athletic identity and all of that stuff. Most people aren't like you. They think, the way that they talk to themselves internally is completely different than how they project themselves or whatever.
Yeah, I'm going to interject here,
Please do.
Kristin.
Please do.
Yes, because I can't agree with you enough. Kristin has this incredible, and I don't even think you realize, Kristin, how incredible it is to have this stance when it comes to yourself, not giving a flying F about what other people think. You've never let people affect your self-confidence or your ability or your self-worth. And, you know, I can't even imagine walking, like for me, as someone who's never competed, who's never lived in y'all's world, I would walk backstage and internally crumble like, oh my God, like who am I to even be around women that look like this? So,
People think that
and I
way.
feel like, yeah. And I feel like, just like you said, like the world has put so much focus on winning and competition and comparing yourself to others. When you guys were competing, the world of Instagram models and all that stuff didn't exist. I'm not saying
Oh my
it was any
word.
easier because of it, but now these girls, that's what they're seeing. And then all the insane additives and things that you can put in your body that aren't detected that keep you able to compete that are available now make it impossible for someone who wants to do it naturally and the right way. And And then you see these girls and you're like, well, dang, if I did that too, I'd be on their level instead of working my butt off, tenfold to get there. So,
and half the time talking about social media, you don't know what's altered and what's not altered. And I'm not talking about like a little auto enhance or whatever. I'm talking about making the booty bigger. I mean, we all swipe and do that Paris filter, whatever. That's not what I mean. But like, snatching the waist, making the like.
Absolutely.
It's my favorite because it's just that.
What's that?
I love the Paris.
Sorry,
Me too.
Just do one swipe to
just
left.
enough.
It's just a little bit. It's just like autocorrect. Well, not autocorrect. Right. It's like good lighting. Blurs out a few wrinkles.
It's like Grammarly. It's like Grammarly for pictures. It just fixes it just a little bit.
But that's like with me, I have 3 daughters, and I'm just like holding off on things like Snapchat and Instagram and certain things as long as possible, and being very clear. Like, you're going to compare. It's called doom scrolling, right? That's like 2 things that when we're building on our self-confidence and trying to build healthy routines, do not doom scroll first thing in the morning, and do not doom scroll right before bed. Everybody does. And it's hard to do. It's addicting. Like, the more every swipe that you get, it's more like dopamine than like just a dose of drugs.
Boop, boop. Yep.
I can go on and on about that.
And then you're on this high, and then you have your own thoughts and your own comparison that you're left with afterwards. And then you start digesting and reflecting on you and how you compare. And it turns into such an insane.
Yeah. Because
it's unfortunate.
Kristin, it's like, yes, that's just the world evolves, technology, whatever. That's just inevitable. But when we were competing, we didn't spend our entire contest prep looking at people online, looking at their training and their reels, and like what are they doing for their glutes, or like what's their diet like, or like we're not obsessing. We were not obsessed. We would go to the gym, we would train, we would text each other, how's your training going?
I would text people I knew were prepping. I'd say, hey, what's going on? Yes. Yeah. I think.
How's your dry out going? We would not have to stalk people on social media and then make ourselves feel even more like crap, but we're not doing enough. So I don't know what it's like to compete nowadays. I have no freaking idea. And more power to everyone else. Like, it's like, but your mental game has got to be that much stronger nowadays. 1,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like where you're at mentally, Kristin, and always have been, that is where girls have to be these days, or they're just going to crumble.
Yeah.
But really Kristin's always been like this. Like ever since we were in high school, she gave 0 Fs about anybody's opinion, it was just like, so.
Like, how are you? Yeah. I mean, like, absolutely. Like I said, one of the first encounters with you in the airport, your legs are like up on the other things, eating some chicken or whatever out of a plastic bag. Like, nobody cares. And I love that about you.
Well, I'm kind of just comfortable wherever I am, first off. So I feel like I just will sit Indian style and like eat with my fingers and wherever we are. But I think what is really going on here is that I have probably put some thought into that thing that I don't give a fuck about and decided I don't give a fuck. This, and this, I don't care. And so we're moving on, and I'm not going to worry about that anymore. It isn't that I haven't thought about it. I've already processed it and decided it's not worth wasting my time on. Let's move on.
Well, that's what you're supposed to do. Absolutely.
Let's move on.
And that's what, you can only control your thoughts and your energy. Yeah. Not anyone else's. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you are
good for you.
Oh no, I was just saying I am currently listening to I love Mel Robbins. I think her voice just makes my soul smile. And right now I'm listening to the Let Them theory, and it is like I feel like every woman on the planet who has ever death scrolled needs to just listen to this. It's exactly what I didn't know I needed, and it's just phenomenal. Kristin, you don't need to listen to it because you are there. You are there.
What is this term?
Yeah, no, it's definitely good. I listened to it.
What is this term?
I listened to it like a month or two ago. It's a really good book. And she does a really good, her voice is, you listen to the audiobook and you either know within the first 2 minutes if you're going to finish the audiobook or not. But she does really good at just that. Her voice and stuff. And she tells stories. Yeah. So it's an easy listen.
Yeah, for sure. What were you saying, Kristin?
You said something about a squirrel. You said these women
scroll.
Scrolling?
I think I heard you.
Right.
I think I heard that in my southern accent.
Squirrel.
I never, ever, ever hear my southern accent, and then I'll be on a Zoom call with a bunch of other people, like in a, like a group call, and they'll be all over the country, and they'll say somebody's from the South, and they just have to mention it. It makes me really feel like I just am not hearing myself correctly. I edit every podcast. I don't know.
I like it.
I
Well, I was told a few times during presentations that I have really bad voice fry. Yeah, do you know what that is?
No.
Have you looked it up? I don't normally give a crap, but it was from it was kind of in an egotistical way from like a male, like in like another male, and I was like, I don't know if you realize you're probably that's not what you should say. But anyways, yeah. So your voice is great. I do have a little bit of voice fry, but whatever, it's fine. But it means you talk like a valley girl. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
Okay.
You ready for this?
We have a little bit of that. We from that generation where we say like.
No.
It's like my voice sounds like almost a little nasally at the end. I'm like, I'm sorry. That's just how that's how I talk.
That's just my voice. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
There is.
You don't have to come.
This Frank Zappa song called Valley Girl, and she does she does sound similar to you a little bit. You should Google it. You should look it up on Spotify. Like, oh my God. It's really fun.
I don't feel like I sound that bad.
You don't. You don't at all. Is it a scale? It's a scale?
And maybe. Everything's on a spectrum nowadays. Everything.
Right.
Like personality disorder, like everything. So maybe.
Yeah.
I'm on a spectrum.
It is a spectrum. My brother says sexuality is a spectrum.
I mean,
it's specifically.
Yeah, I can see that. I would call Virginia the South. That's where I'm at. And I'm like,
yeah, they do. They do.
Yeah, they do. Virginia Beach. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. It's like South-ish. You know, like the question is, can you order sweet tea at the restaurant there or not? Because that is the true testament to how deep in the South are you.
Can you not get sweet tea anywhere?
No.
Some places up north, they look at you like you're half crazy. Yeah. Like
really?
Sweet tea.
Oh,
like I can bring you hot tea.
Yes. Yes. When we go up north for race.
Well, when I was living overseas, most.
Did not know that. I just remember getting sweet tea from Hardee's when I was little, and pretty much I'm shocked I don't have diabetes from all of that sugar. That's
right.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Lilla and I worked at the canisters, and we made the tea there
in high school.
Terry,
God,
you want to talk about
how much sugar you probably put in
a pitcher?
Bags. I'm talking, a pitcher full of sugar into one container of sweet tea. Just insanity.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. How many of us are alive right now? I'm just not even sure anymore. So here we are.
I think about that all the time.
We're resilient. That's how. Everybody needs to quit pussyfooting around and pick heavy shit up and get their nails dirty. And we're resilient.
Just live.
Go out in the sunlight. Yes. Live.
I mean, there's actually all this research coming out now that it's not even that a lot of sunscreens cause cancer at a higher rate than the actual sun. You know, it's like all the stuff's coming out now that
you never know.
Half our life is a lie, right?
Right. Half our, yeah. Now, I
literally
think about all the bad decisions I made when I was younger. I'm like, Lord, somehow we're alive.
Yeah.
And we don't have any
somehow we made it. So, right.
That's the best part. There's no documentation. Okay.
Right. Can you imagine? I mean, like I did some contest at, remember Banana Joe's, and then it was whatever other club. And there was some questionable contests that I did in there during college that involved wet bologna and stuff like that. And I just can't imagine if this was documented. I won the wet ass bologna toss contest. They fit like 16 slices of bologna, and Brantley was throwing it on the stage. And there I am, bent over, smelling like freaking wet bologna the rest of the night. But in my, at 21 or 20, it was the thing to do. So imagine if there was a video, here comes teacher Lilla in the wet ass bologna contest. Like, I would have never gotten a job. Okay. So, yeah.
Okay. We need Brantley to come on and give her side of this story.
Right.
Slices of bologna, Lilla.
I mean, I caught it on my lower back. So, I got that little shelf, so I was able to kind of even back then, I was able to toot it up a little bit, So I was just catching them things on my back, smelling like wet bologna sandwiches all night. Fantastic. God, amazing.
Oh my God. That was the time I think I was like competing and staying out of trouble.
Yeah.
Hit the gym.
I was not. I was doing the wet ass bologna
You were the
contest.
wet ass bologna
Banana
contest.
jokes. That's what I was doing, guys.
Conversation and good memories.
Yeah, I am so glad we ended on that.
Always a good time.
Terri is a badass. She contributed to the magazine. At first, it was going to be earlier in the year, the first issue, so we had tailored it towards the new year and just mindset. And then we rerouted to April, so we adjusted for that. And she's been really cool and just hanging in there with me because I just really wanted her in the magazine. And there were 4 or 5 people I had told Lilla, I want this person, this person, this person. And then I got them all. So I'm super pumped about the issue to come out. If you haven't already gotten your issue, you're going to want to go ahead and either subscribe or get the single issue option. Although you're getting a deal if you get the first or the 1-year subscription. But Terri's got a great article. Lilla's got a great article about her experience as a teacher in Dubai. And there's just a ton of information in the magazine from really cool, awesome girls. And I'm super excited about it. So if you haven't already gotten your copy, you're like already behind because they're going to be in mailboxes first week of April.
Slack.
Yeah. First week of April. And I say that tentatively, it should be like the 5th through the 12th. I can't, they're giving me a ship date. I'm not getting a delivery, not a delivery. So that's why I say I paid for expedited shipping just because that's who I am as a person. And I actually have another single copy that I ordered that's coming today because that's also who I am as a person. Like it'd be uber prepared. I want to know what everybody's going to get in their mailbox. And yeah, everybody check it out. Do you have anything you want to say, Lilla?
Well, I was just going to say, Terri, tell us kind of, like we know what you do and stuff, but let everybody else know kind of what you do, what your article in the magazine was kind of geared towards, all that.
Yeah, so when I talked to Kristin, I guess it was maybe in December or before the New Year's, even Thanksgiving, I don't know. So I work as a CMPC, which is a certified mental performance consultant. I work through the Association of Applied Sports Psychology. So I work with all types of athletes or performers or business executives, like really anybody. And I've worked with Danica for quite a bit, like quite a few months. So it's Kristin's stepdaughter. So she just kind of asked me to write something that would be beneficial for the new year, just mindset related. But like she said, it kind of seems like it flowed perfectly for the summer, right? Because summer is kind of like a fresh start for a lot of people as well. So I don't know how many sort of tips I put in there, but there is a decent amount. Just how to make the best out of your summer sort of thing. So yeah, I work with athletes. We do things, we build mental skills toolboxes. So how do we deal effectively with pre-performance anxiety or just anxiety in general? How do we build our self-confidence, our self-concept, or our self-belief about ourselves? Sports psychology, we work with the subconscious mind since everything, really 90% of everything we do comes from that spot. So I work with a lot of women. We're talking about, working with our intuition, learning to trust ourselves a little bit more. How can we operate from a place of high self-confidence and, just that's the basis of success for everything that we do in life, right? Our self-belief or having a high self-worth. So we do a lot of that, just building on that self-concept. We do a lot of imagery. How do we use mental rehearsal so that we can increase our likelihood of success? I even work with surgeons and medical professionals because really, even NASA, they have a team of sports psychologists, the military and everything. So that's kind of the very abbreviated version of what I do without trying to ramble way too much. But it's just mental skills, mental training on ways that we can uncover our mental obstacles or hurdles. How can we overcome them so that we can operate at 90 to 100% of our fullest potential? Because studies show the majority of the average person walks around operating from 40 to 60% of their fullest potential. And that to me, I'm like, that is such a sad statistic. So what can we do to operate at 90 to 100% of our full potential? Because no one wants to walk around the majority of their life not
40.
Exactly. Yeah. And when people hear that statistic, it's kind of like they sit up a little bit and they're like, yeah, that's true. Like what has happened in the past that holds me back from having this really crappy self-concept that makes them think that they're not good enough or that they can't achieve whatever it is. So there's just a whole bunch of tools that I teach depending on the individual. But 100% of the time, we always work on self-confidence, because again, that's something that we are not aware that we feel about ourselves, that our internal dialogue that we say about ourselves. And the thing is, again, like your subconscious mind, you don't realize what's going on, right? Whether it's you digesting your food, your breathing, having certain beliefs about yourself or other people, your thoughts, your intuition, all of that comes from our subconscious place. So the way that we have to make changes is through self-awareness. So I talk about that all the time, right? We have to verbally talk about things to make you bring that to your conscious mind, because that's when you use logic, right? If we don't feel good about ourselves, so we feel like we feel like we're fat, or we feel like we're stupid, or that we don't have the confidence to speak up in front of other people at a meeting, or walk on stage as a fitness competitor, or not have such a poor body image. We have to talk about that, and we have to bring it from the subconscious mind to the conscious, because that's where you use analytics and logics to sort of have to look at the situation from a logical perspective and debunk whatever negative beliefs you have about themselves. So sometimes it's like we take it all the way back to childhood. Let's talk about it, and let's pinpoint we all have that. We all can think of a time in childhood where we're like, this person said this one thing that has affected me all the way into my 30s, my 40s plus as an adult. And you're like, man, that shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that shouldn't be like, and we can all think about that, and then as parents, it helps us be more empathetic and more aware to help our kids, to hopefully help, prevent some of that possible trauma that could go on. Hopefully that makes sense. I feel like I just rambled.
No, I think
No, that was great. That was great. I'm like, yes, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just think, whether it's like, with Danica, or I love working with kids. I genuinely do. Do I think that they listen most of the time? No. But I know it's going in one ear, it's getting stored somewhere in that brain, and then it's going out. So I know at some point down the road, they're going to remember something, some tool that we talked about. Because here's the thing, when I work with adults, which I personally prefer working with adults, because the maturity is there and the appreciation for working on themselves is there. But again, if they had someone to work with in their adolescent years, because adolescence is when we form our self-identity and we take it on for the rest of adulthood, right? We wouldn't have to work as hard as adults to reverse what was ingrained in our brain from childhood. So that is, I do like working with kids, because I meet with these adults sometimes. I'm like, oh my gosh, that should never happen to you. Yeah, so now we got to really do the work to try to reverse some of those negative thought loops. So, but yeah, so that's kind of what I do in a nutshell. There's a lot more that can get involved. I mean, it's really sad to me sometimes once I talk with people. As I will say, if there's like one thing that it's like encouraging people, or like whatever, is pretty much what you said in a nutshell, is to not have the victim mentality, take responsibility. It's not your fault that happened to you, but it, as a kid, using yours as an example, but it is your responsibility to heal from it and to not pass on those fucked up behaviors to anybody else, which is what you did, right? Ideally, that's what most people would do. And maybe they just don't realize it. Maybe they need to hear anyone say, okay, you're not a victim. Life is not fair. That's just like with my oldest daughter. I'm like, life is just not fair. Like, that's just how it is. It's how you respond to it is what matters. In sports psychology, that's the whole freaking thing. Controls and controllables. You cannot control what your teammates do. You can't control how they play on the field. You can control if you're going to be optimistic, if you are going to be a good communicator on the field, if you're going to actually focus and not have off in la la land, or if you're going to give 100% effort. That's what you can control. Stop worrying about everyone else, right? So the same kind of thing, what you're talking about is like, you can control to choose not to be a victim and to do the work and to do better. Do better. I think some people, it takes them a little bit more time. Like they have to kind of hit rock bottom, or they have to, hear somebody talk about it and be like, you know what, they're right. Because everyone has a big freaking ego. And nowadays with social media, I mean, I feel like the narcissist, I mean, I don't like to say that word because it gets thrown around.
Yeah.
But I have seen quite a bit of it in men and women. So it's just, I mean, I know exactly what you're saying. I hope I'm like making sense too. But yeah, it's the victim mentality. It's a real thing.
Yeah, it's a disease.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
You know, but people like you, Kristen, I mean, that's why it's so important to have like a good community. They say like you are the people, the top 5 people that you hang around with, right? So it's like, look at your social circle. Like, you know, do you have like a really good group of women that you can talk to and that you can rely on? Or do you feel like you're constantly being judged? I mean, and not supported? Right. Like, are the people around you going to clap for you when you hit a goal and you have a big accomplishment? Or are they going to, if you're not in the room, are they going to speak positively about it?
Exactly. You know? Are they going to clap for you when you're not watching? Is what are they clapping when you're not watching? And I mean, it is so sad because this new generation, and we've talked about this before on the podcast, is they're enabling these kids to have this victim mentality. I feel like right now that's the fad in the world, is to be the victim and to feel offended by everything. And like, that's not preparing you for life. That's not preparing you for digesting those moments and saying, okay, I didn't choose this, but it happened to me. So what do I do with it now? Exactly. These kids right now are being told, like, you are the victim. Like, you need to, and it's like, no, this is not.
Yeah.
Right. Like, this is how it's going to affect you. Is it? Or are you going to let it? Just like Mel Robbins says, let them and then let me.
Exactly.
Period.
Yes. I know. I do love that.
Somebody very close to Danica likes to tell her, well, you have an autoimmune condition. And every time I hear him say it, I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't. Like, there's nothing wrong with you that.
Don't label yourself.
Don't label yourself. There's nothing wrong with you. We can't fix with food, sunlight, being stress-free, exercise. Then we do the next thing. So I just think we don't put labels on ourselves is such a good thing to do.
Or like my thing is I hear close people say this to me, like I have anxiety. Like, you're not an anxious person, but you have anxious thoughts and feelings that you just need to give it 60 seconds sometimes and they will go away. Or if it's a clinical thing, you need to possibly medicate it, right? Nothing wrong with that if needed, but don't label yourself like, I'm an anxious person. Like, no.
Oh, I have depression. I have anxiety. Everybody you meet right now, like even with a lot of my members, that's what they report. 90% of the members that I work with report they have anxiety, they have depression, and I'm like, do you? Like, because clinical depression is a thing. It is real. It is valid. But if I'm sad 2 days out of the week, that doesn't mean I have depression. If I feel anxious about, getting my work done for today, that doesn't mean I have anxiety. That means I'm having an anxious moment. And now I figure it out and get over it. Right. And get my work done. Boom. Done.
I don't know. I think the anxiety comes from like the push-pull of people having to do what they have to do, but they want to scroll on TikTok. And so it's like, that's literally where
and they feel under pressure.
It's coming from with people right now. They're torn between being stuck to their phone and being in real life right now. I really feel like that's partially where a lot of people are in their anxiety journey. It's things.
Yeah, for sure.
In the comparison. Yeah. And feeling like
they don't want to be far away from it. They're strapping them to their chest, finding ways to wear them.
FOMO, like they're gonna miss something else. Yeah.
Right.
And I work online. I get it.
Yeah. They're so accessible. It's everywhere. You can just, it's so accessible. Yes. But I think a lot of it comes from too is just the whole like feelings of inadequacy because of the comparison to everyone else, whether you're in middle school or you're an adult, like with my kids, and there's problems with peers, whether they're making fun of each other or like one of my daughters was called fat in 3rd grade. And so she wore her heavy jacket. I remember with spring pictures, she wore her heavy jacket in her pictures and she's a twig. It's not, anyways, not
it's so sad.
But I'm like, well, I'm not buying these pictures. You're like,
we're gonna get Kristen to take some pictures of you because we're not doing this with your jacket on.
But my point is this stuff happens at a young age.
And early,
You need to have these coping mechanisms and way to deal with it, right? So you don't become a victim and you don't label yourself as fat or as stupid or ugly. I mean, gosh, we've all been in middle school and we know that's probably like the hardest.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I don't feel like high school was worse. I feel like middle school was worse.
Middle school is the worst.
High school is awful.
Because at least in high school, you can a job. You can start making your own money, drive yourself, get some more independence and things like that.
And people kind of find their identities in high school. So you can find those groups that you fit in with and kind of, but middle school, it's just a hot mess. You don't know who you are, what's going on, why you smell funny, why is this hair growing here, what is going on, It's like, how do you even, what?
And that's another reason why I just always advocate for, it doesn't have to be sports, because I know plenty of kids that's not like their thing. They don't love doing sports, but there should always be something that gives them an outlet.
Right. Feeling of success, confidence, something.
That's it for us today with Terri and Lilla. We are headed out. You can find us at cocktailsmag.com, at cocktailsmag_. Terri's handle is at Terri Turner Performance on IG. Are you on TikTok?
No.
Okay,
I haven't opened up that door yet.
TerriTurnerPerformance.com.
That's my website, yeah. And then just Terri Turner Performance on Instagram. Yeah, you got it.
And you know where to find us. We are, I can't even remember our handle right now. I don't even know where I was going with that sentence. All right, I'm just hanging up. I don't even know what's the terminology. I'm hanging up. No, really.